I bought this model back in around 2012, but to be honest, ever since I bought it, it's just been laying around in the box and I haven't really done anything with it. So I'd say 9 years after I bought the model, it's about time to take a closer look at it. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where today we'll take a closer look at a Boeing 747-400 of Lufthansa. At the front of the box we have a lovely image of the aircraft, which I believe was taken in Hamburg. Above that we have the Lufthansa branding and we have another little logo, but more on that a little bit later. Then on the back side of the box we have yet another image, and also that is really awesome, with a Junkers in front of the 747. That looks really awesome. And we have the original dimensions and some additional information here on the box. So that's about it. Let's take a closer look inside and at the aircraft model inside. And here she is, the Boeing 747-400 in the former standard livery of Lufthansa with the 50 years Innovation Partnership sticker. Over the decades, Boeing and Lufthansa have been in a very close partnership and have contributed quite a lot to each other with various aircraft types, Lufthansa also being launch customer of many of Boeing's aircraft over the years. And to celebrate the 50th anniversary of their close partnership, they added this sticker to the 747. But let us start a tour around the aircraft model with a look at the tail section, because here we find on the vertical stabilizer the Lufthansa branding, and above that we have the last two letters of the registration code. On the fuselage, we then have the Lufthansa.com web address, we have the full registration code of the aircraft and the German flag, and towards the very tail of the aircraft we do also have some lovely detailing around the APU exhaust. At the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we have the writing of Lufthansa. Underneath that we find the aircraft type specification and the name of the aircraft. In this case the aircraft is named after the German city of Düsseldorf. We also have the Star Alliance logo, of which the airline is a founding member, and underneath that again the Lufthansa branding. Of course we then have this 50 years Innovation Partnership Boeing and Lufthansa sticker added on as well, and also actually specified the different aircraft types where Lufthansa and Boeing have had a close partnership in the development of these aircraft types, and that's the 707, 727, 737 and the 747-8. In fact, it is probably safe to say that the 747-8 as we know it today wouldn't be in the sky if Lufthansa hadn't pushed Boeing to actually develop the aircraft. Then the detailing around the cockpit section follows the usual Herpa standard. That means we have the cockpit windows with the window wipers, and on the 747 just above the cockpit windows also the emergency hatch for the cockpit, and that's about it for printed details here. But I do like the mold, the shape of the cockpit section is, I think, very lovely executed here from Herpa. Now we can move on to the engine nacelles. They have been kept in this grey tone and have the silver leading edge printed on, but that's all printed details we get with the engines. This lack of detailing is however not unusual for aircraft models from Herpa Wings of that time period. The physical detailing however I think is actually pretty nice, especially here when we look into the engines from the front, where we very nicely can see the engine fan blades. Then we can move on to the wings, which we should definitely also take a closer look at, starting over the top side where we have the different flaps, slats and spoilers carved out very nicely, but we have no printed details here whatsoever. Also the underside only offers us physical detailing. The wings of course on the 747 do have the winglets, which Herpa has executed rather nicely on this aircraft model. From there we can move on to the landing gear, and for Herpa at that time period this is actually extremely shoddy work. The landing gear is crooked and really poorly executed. The center pair of the main landing gear is extremely loose, which means when you put the aircraft model on the ground, I mean, that just looks horrible. You can fix it with a bit of glue, but as I say, for the time period this model was made from Herpa Wings, this is extremely shoddy work and rather unusual actually. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back of the aircraft and here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 747-400 in the former standard livery of Lufthansa with the 50 years Innovation Partnership sticker from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Well, obviously the main issue with this model is the landing gear. It is extremely shoddy, and not just shoddy with today's standards, but extremely shoddy with Herpa's standards around 2012 when I bought the model, or 2010 when it was created by Herpa. Because back in the day, Herpa was a very good company and they actually had something called quality control. And it was extremely rare that a model like this would actually end up in a shop. And that's also why I'm confident in saying that if you have this model or find this model today somewhere, there's a very, very good chance that you would not have the issue that I have with the landing gear. Anything else that we can say about the model? Well, I mean, it is a fairly standard model from Herpa Wings of the time period. That means obviously we don't have a plethora of printed details, but the details that they have added, they have done so very, very well. Of course, over the years, Herpa has made an enormous amount of 747 Lufthansa models, so you might think there isn't anything special about it, but I would argue that at least this little sticker makes it a little bit more special compared to all the other 747s you can find out there. And if you, like me, like an aircraft with a little bit of history, which I would argue the sticker adds to this model, then I would say yes, even today the aircraft is worth having in one's collection. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like, that would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.